This is your old pal Nikki G. Welcome to Better Commander. Today we're talking about cascading directly into my heart. Cascade is an interesting ability and one that's been around since the Alara days. Alara was a set about a giant baby who blows up everything in the world instead of just blowing up its diaper. Weird set for sure. Neat cards though, so let's revisit Cascade in Commander. Let's talk about a few cards and lose our minds about how much value you can generate. But first, cascade into that subscribe button. Uh-oh, you just cascaded into the like button too, buddy, and now you've discovered my heart. Now wait a second, did I just say discover? That's a different thing, dude. Say you discover 5. You exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card with that mana value or less. Cast it without paying its mana cost, or put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Discover came along with Lost Caverns of Ixalan and is a superior mechanic in all respects. It's more often on an ETB, while Cascade is tied to a cast. There are only a few commanders that use Discover, the most salient being Pantlaza. Now this guy is just a dinosaur with pants on. He's true red, green, and a white for a legendary creature dinosaur. It's a 4/4. Whenever this guy or another dinosaur enters the battlefield under your control, you may discover X, where X is that creature's toughness. Do this only once each turn. So this guy is an incredible value machine in the command zone, but we're not talking about Discover today, we're talking about Cascade. Now Cascade reads as follows: when you cast this spell, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card that costs less. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. Put the exile cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. Multiple instances of Cascade, each trigger separately. This can be pretty bonkers, dude, but sometimes you cascade into a 2-mana dork and it's a little sad. So top deck manipulation is really good. Brainstorm if you're in blue, Scroll Rack, those types of cards really maximize your Cascade fun. Now believe it or not, the number 1 Cascade card is Wild Magic Sorcerer. This is 3 and a red for a creature Orc Shaman. It's a 4/3. The first spell you cast from exile each turn has Cascade. This came along as the Cast from Exile archetype, came into its own with Prosper and some of these other sweet Cast from Exile commanders. This guy looks like a damn rugby professional, dude, and if you're leaning into Cascade, this guy benefits from that as well. I think this exemplifies the correct way to view Cascade in Commander. Cascade, while providing value, sometimes dubious value, isn't really a way to win. You need to be pursuing some other goal and sprinkle in a little Cascade as flavor. Like this thing here, Call Forth the Tempest. 5 red for a sorcery, has Cascade and Cascade. Call Forth the Tempest deals damage to each creature your opponents control equal to the total mana value of other spells you've cast this turn. So in a deck like Magnus the Red or some other cost reduction deck, for instance in sorceries, you're really blasting off with a card like this while accruing 2 additional spells, all that for 8 mana. But the way Cascade works is that you cast those other spells you cascaded into before this resolves, so it counts those spells when calculating its damage. And if you're into artifacts, Modern Horizons 2 gave us the Aethersworn Sphinx. This guy's 7 white and blue for an artifact creature Sphinx. It's a 4/4, but it has affinity for artifacts, has flying, and has Cascade. This card is severely underrated in these clue decks, food decks, treasure decks as well. I love this guy. This is a budget banger in a couple decks I put together: Yannette, Cryptic Sovereign, some clue decks I've slapped together through the years. The art kinda sucks though, man. I will freely admit that. And if you're slapping in with big beaters, there's none bigger than this guy. The Apex Devastator is 8 green for a creature Chimera Hydra. It's a 10/10. That's 10 mana, dude. Cascade. You cascade 4 times, but he has 5 heads, man. That's what we used to say about somebody with a big forehead. They got a 5 head. Sounds like I have a speech impediment just saying cascade 8 times. Anyways, I've seen this do some crazy things, and I've seen it do some suboptimal things, and that's kind of Cascade in a nutshell. Reign of Riches. So this is 3 red for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 treasure tokens. The first spell you cast each turn that mana from a treasure was spent to cast has Cascade. If you're into treasures, this can be a banger as well. Brings its own treasures to the party. Excellent value piece. Recently had this deployed against me in a Vazi deck, and it was brutal, man. The Reign of Value was unprecedented. So what if you want to make Cascade into an integral part of your game plan? Well, you want a commander that has Cascade or deals with Cascade. Now we all know that there are some tribal, typal, and or kindred cards that tickle your whiskers. You know, I was hoping that they would rename tribal to family plan. You know, I'm making a vampires family plan deck. I'm family planning out a dinosaur deck, you know. Makes about as much sense as typal, but that's just me, brother. How about this guy, the first Sliver? This guy's whoop 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 Wooberg for a legendary creature. It's a Sliver 7/7 with Cascade. Sliver spells you cast have Cascade. People love the Slivers, but they make a pretty linear commander deck. This guy, you know, he doesn't really care about Cascade. He's just making your Slivers into more Slivers, and that's pretty egregious. Then we have this guy. He's Zuladak the Void Gorger. How the heck are you supposed to say that? 5 colorless for a legendary creature Eldrazi. It's a 7/4. Colorless spells you cast from your hand with mana value 7 or greater have Cascade. This is an interesting commander, right? In that it doesn't specify Eldrazi, but any colorless spells. So you can cast artifacts or whatever. I mean, sure, make it happen, but it's a lot of setup for 2 Cascade triggers. I would slap this in a Belby Corrupted Observer deck and make lots of mana for those big spells though. Pay them off with Cascade. But what can I say, dude? I'm a fan of goth girl elves. You know what I'm saying? Or you could just run Emoti, Celebrant of Bounty. This guy's 3 green and a blue for a legendary creature Naga Druid. It's a 3/1 with Cascade. Spells you cast with mana value 6 or greater have Cascade. This is probably the most straightforward Cascade commander out there. CMC 6 or more than Cascade, you damn ignoramus. Celebrating Bounty, dude. I opened my fridge, I saw half a bologna sandwich, some mayonnaise, and I raised all 6 of my arms in the air, brother. I celebrated the bounty before me. You're in Simic, so you can really go nuts with the old Emoti. Or you could get this version with the most confusing frame in the history of Magic. It's impossible to read. Confuse and disorient your opponents. That's better commander, dude. Now listen, man. This next commander was reprinted in Commander Masters. I did a budget video. It's a ton of wholesome fun for about $100. The Maelstrom Wanderer. This guy's 5 green, blue, and a red for a legendary creature elemental. It's a 7/5. Creatures you control have haste. Has Cascade. This is a damn 8 mana commander, and basically you're making lots of value. This deck was a little cheaper before Tally Primal Conqueror shot up quite a bit. This was $5 when I made the deck, man, so you can get him out of there if you want. This used to be a very pricey card, the Maelstrom Wanderer, but it tanked after Commander Masters. What a fun deck, man. Fun commander. What are you playing this game for if it's not for fun, man? Oh yeah, you want to win too, but it does that. Can we talk about this guy for a second? Yidris, the Maelstrom Wielder. This guy is blue, black, red, and green for a legendary creature, Ogre Wizard. It's a 5/4 with Trample. Whenever this guy deals combat damage to a player, as you cast spells from your hand this turn, they gain Cascade. This guy, 4 mana, 4 colors, he's just a tank, man. He's Goro's cousin and he's out for blood. This guy has human skulls covering his groin, dude, but he's not afraid to show his sensitive side either, brother. Look at this beautiful man. He's rejuvenating himself on the dang Chase Lounge over there. He's still got the skulls on his groin though, kind of crazy. This was the original Cascade commander, and he's still diesel, only about $4. Unfortunately, he doesn't offer any win conditions other than value, but it's a great captain of a good stuff deck in these colors. Who needs white anyways, man? Not this beast. Now, I will mention this card for completeness sake, Averna the Chaos Bloom. Green, blue, and a red for a legendary creature, Elemental Shaman. It's a 4/2. As you cascade, you may put a land from among the exiled cards onto the battlefield tapped. Nature is a dance. Master it, and the world can keep no secrets from you. No, man. No, nature's not, dude. That's ridiculous. Nature isn't a dance. It's just some grass, buddy. And that's better commander, dude. And this guy's pretty meh, but it's a nice, in a dedicated Cascade deck in the 99. Now we're talking, dude. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only drip. Abaddon the Despoiler, Chaos Terminator with 2 blue, black, and a red. Legendary creature, Astarte's Warrior. It's a 5/5 with Trample. This guy has the Mark of Chaos Ascendant. Of course he does. During your turn, spells you cast from your hand with mana value X or less have Cascade, where X is the total amount of life your opponents have lost this turn. Under his rule, there is but one creed. Chaos shall reign. Well. Chaos shall rain blood on your stinky little cheese sandwich, dude. I love this guy. Back when it was released, I did a Precon upgrade with this guy at the helm. My favorite thing was casting those suspend cards like Ancestral Vision. Cascade cheats those out immediately. You don't have to wait for that power, dude. So Abaddon can cascade a Soul Ring into a dang Profane Tutor. That's kind of fun, but it lacks the loaded gun to translate its ability into a win. You gotta do that yourself. I will say though, Abaddon at least gives you a direction to build into. You're gonna slug, and you're gonna slug, dude. Direct damage, big beefy monsters that cause life loss. I do like this card a lot. I have one and really should do a scratch build around it, getting rid of all the fluff from the Precon. Let me know if you want to see that in the comments. Anyways, man, there's a little video about Cascade. I want to know what you guys think about all these commanders and all these little cards. Are they worth it in your commander decks, or are they just bunk, dude? These decks can be a lot of fun. Random, you know, the teamer commanders can really gin up a lot of value, enough sometimes to win out of nowhere, man. Especially Maelstrom Wanderer. Giving everything haste is underrated for sure. If you cast some big beefy creatures off of that, dude, you're swanging in for a bunch of damage. So listen, be cool to each other out there, alright? Take your vitamins and wash under your groin skulls. Nicky G signing off.